What's taking so long? Hello, everybody. We're live now with our new course called Selling with Webinars. And today is going to be a little bit more unusual than normal because we're actually going to try and do a little demo of a demo of a demo. I don't know. I've got so many screens and things set up to show you that it could get a little bit crazy, and we just have to pray that I don't freeze up, because otherwise Sarah that way is going to be taking over, and I know you're not happy about that. So anyway, here's what we're going to do today. Our new course is about webinars, and I know this is a live stream, so we're going to make it kind of like a webinar. We're going to show you how it would look as a webinar. So we took some slides, and actually they are some templates that are in the expansion pack that we customized. And I'm going to share it as if it's a webinar and go through the same sort of motions and show you what you would do if you were doing a webinar with it. And then during that time, I'll show you a little bit about how you would upload things to webinar. I can show you my webinar platform if you want, which is Demio. And of course, we'll answer questions and show you a little bit of the course itself and the materials you'll get to teach. So this is another one of those courses that it's great for learning from yourself. So if you've never done a webinar before, no problem, because you'll go through the steps in the course and do a webinar. And this is great for selling your courses. So you could use it to learn how to do webinars to sell your other courses. And then you'll have this great experience, because it doesn't really take that much. You do a few webinars and you get really confident with it. You have your setup going, and then you would be able to teach other people. So, ready to get started, Sarah?
Yep. Hi, Sharon from Beltsville. Oh, that sounds so good, doesn't it?
Let me look at my comments.
Beltsville,
Maryland. Hello, another Sharon. Excellent. Good to see that. And I'm going to hide this banner now because I'll show it to you again. But that is the URL for the course itself, which is Selling with Webinars. So contentsparks.com/webinars. So let me hide all that so we can start going over to the screen. So, and Sarah, you can pitch in whenever you want, as usual. Hi, Nettie. And let's start. So what we did is we took some of our, let me start at the beginning. We took some of our slides, some of the slide templates that are in the expansion pack, and actually Sarah did a lot of customizing of it. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to see when I pull these up. She's surprised me in a few places. But what I'll do is I'm in Canva, the slides are done. I'm going to present directly from Canva and share my screen. So I just click on the present mode. I'm going to open it up and we should see the screen. So now I'm going to just hide Sarah and I'm showing in StreamYard. I'm going to hide us so that all you see is the slides. And this would be the beginning of your webinar. And I'm presenting from Canva and sharing my screen in their presentation mode. And I can just click with my mouse throughout to go from slide to slide. So welcome to Selling with Webinars, the demo. Meet your instructor. That's me, Sharon Sheldon. This is actually a picture of me with Amy Porterfield from a few years ago when I went to one of her events. And I have built an audience myself using content from scratch. So I've built the audience from scratch, and you're going to get some of my practical tips by the end of this training, particularly with webinars. And I started where you are now, absolutely with very little or small audience. I actually started with no audience. So it's definitely possible to build an audience without ads, because that's something that I have never really done. So when I have done it, didn't really do much. So you don't have to be brilliant at everything in order to build your audience using webinars, because there are things I can't do at all, like resist chocolate. I changed that, Sarah. Sarah had muffins in there, and I changed it to chocolate. So if somebody else is doing your webinar slides for you, important to read the fine print. So here's what you're going to discover in this demo of a demo of webinars. You're going to learn how quickly you can customize your Canva webinar slides, how to upload the slides to Demio, and why you'll love teaching our new course called Selling with Webinars. And if you'd like to put together your own unique strategy for teaching and selling with webinars, then I do have something you'll love, and I'll tell you more about it after this presentation, this demo webinar presentation. And then, of course, we'll have a Q&A like we always do. So first, a little bit of housekeeping. Tell me where you are in the comments. And if you're live or replay, I know right now we're live, but I'm going to be able to see those comments in a replay as well. So we already know we have Sharon from Maryland, Nettie's here, Yvonne is here from Melbourne, Florida, and I'll look out for any other comments. Take notes as you go along, because you're going to want to remember the things that you want to take action on. And when you take notes, you'll remember them better. And add your questions to the chat. So in the comment section, since you may be on either Facebook or YouTube, yes, this is a live stream, but we're demoing it as a webinar. So hang on to those questions. We'll look out for them and we will answer them after the presentation. Hi, Frederick. I see that you are live on YouTube. Excellent. So let's start with how to customize your Canva slides. And before we go in and customize anything, remember that people hate a few things on webinars. They hate wordy slides. They hate small, tiny little fonts that they can't read. And they lack any kind of lack of interactivity. So we're saying, leave us a comment, tell us where you're from, things like that. And they hate a lack of passion. So you have to make sure you energize yourself, whether it's making the room freezing cold so that you're really upbeat and trying to warm up, or you play some of your favorite music beforehand, anything like that, anything that'll get you excited. So before I go on, let's show you how to customize those slides. So I'm going to exit the presentation at the moment because that's the only way I can show you. And I'm back in Canva now. You can see here, these are our slides, and we've customized them from the templates that you'll get. So here are a few things you can easily do. Here you can change a font very easily. Anything like that. You could, if you have a business account, you can even upload your own fonts. So things like that. You can make it bigger and smaller. You can change the color. So those are very simple little things you can do. I have my brand colors uploaded. This is just an image. Sarah, you did this. How did you put this in, this particular graphic?
On the left, you'll see there's elements.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on elements, I then looked for speed icon, something that indicated speed or a measurement. And these are the things that it came up. And somewhere on that element list, you will find the little icon that we have in there.
Okay, well, let's just pick something else in the meantime.
Yeah.
How about this one? So I could take that and get rid of that, and then I could make this some sort of color. So can't I? Why is
no,
this?
I think that one's just a white one.
Oh, okay. So, well, if I change the background of the slide, it would do that. So let's pick something that I can color. But you're getting the idea, I'm sure, already of how you can do this. So let's see. What about that one?
No.
That one also you can't customize.
Still one might work.
I have a paid account, so I can also just show the pro ones and apply filters on that, because sometimes you'll get some more interesting ones if you do that. So somewhere on here you found something that moved and was fast and that you could customize. If you do like the white ones in particular, then what you could do is put that in. That one, I can actually change the color on, so I could change that to say match the background there. So anything like this, you can add your own image. So I'm going to undo those because I like what we had before. And let me just go back one slide to show you something like this. You can put your own image in, so you just upload an image. I have one other one here that I could just drag and drop into there. It's a placeholder. Let me just, there, put it in there so it'll fit. And then if I want to move myself down, I double click and put it in there. I can change the text, I can change the color here. I could change this on all slides. So I could go in here and say I want to make that color. And at the bottom it says change all. So I can click that. And then anywhere on the slides where there's that color, it's changed it. So pretty cool, right? So let's undo everything now, because I want to, I think that's everything. Nope. I'm undoing and undoing. Okay, so that is how to customize Canva slides. So you'll see these in the expansion pack, and that's what we used for this. So I'm going to jump back to the presentation. So I went out of presentation mode, webinar presentation mode, and I'm going back in again now. So I'm just going to click on present, and it's picked up where I was on the slide. So we talked about how to customize slides. Now let's talk about how to upload slides to Demio. Now first, remember that 74% of people don't know how to upload their slides. So if you don't know, you're in good company. And P.S., we see that Sarah made up this statistic, and we don't really know. And we don't recommend that you make up statistics to put on your slides, because it may be much more than that. So I'm going to show you how to upload your slides to Demio, which again is the platform I use. So I'm exiting again. I'm going to go over to Demio. I have an account there, and you can kind of see here that I can zoom in a little bit more, I think. There. You can see that I did set up a webinar in here already so that I would have something to demo to you. And Alvin has a question. He said, is this Canva 101 training? This is actually Canva 0.00001 training, because we only showed you a very small fraction. And that was, now I'm going to show you a little bit of Demio, and just a tiny bit of Demio, just how to upload slides. So if you had your slides all done in Canva, you could download them as a PDF. I've been presenting in Canva, but you can download as a PDF the whole thing. And then in Demio, and possibly in other webinar platforms as well, I can upload them so I can use them to present, and I don't have to share my screen at all. So I'm clicking on there, and I'm going into customize, because I can customize everything in advance. And I want to prepare the room in advance. So I go into prepare the room. I can add resources like a handout or a poll or a featured action, and a featured action is a call to action. So I'll demo that kind of stuff later after this demo of the demo of how to do a webinar. But I'm showing you how to upload slides. So that's your presentation materials. I did upload a couple already so that we wouldn't waste processing time and risk it cutting out this live stream. So here I would just add material, and I can add either slides or a video. So you can upload a video in any of these formats, MP4, et cetera, up to 5 gigs, which is a lot of video. All right, because if you want to, say, record your webinar in advance and just play it, this is one thing you can do. Or you could just have part of a video. So I'll show you more of that later. For now, I'm showing you how to upload slides. So you would name it. So you'd name it something like selling with webinars, right? If you're doing your webinar slides. And then you would just click on upload media. You would find your PDF. So here I've saved it already. And you click on open. And it quickly uploaded that because there are only a few slides in here, so it's not too bad. And then I would just click add material. So, and then once I've added material, it's going to show up here like I've done already, webinar demo Canva slides. So those are all uploaded now and ready to go. And I'll show you some of these other settings and stuff afterwards, after we've finished with the demo of the webinar. So let's go back to the presentation. I'll go back to present again. And you've now seen how to upload slides to Demio. So the next item on our agenda was why you'll love teaching selling with webinars. So say you were doing your own webinar, which we've been demoing, and at this point you've taught your few main things and you want to talk about, you want to transition a bit into what your offer would be. And in this case, we're talking about selling with webinars, why you're going to love this topic. So we have a few statistics here. People love statistics. We've got 42% of marketers say that they plan on using webinars in 2021. 83% of marketers find webinars effective, even though only 41% of them participate or attend them. And that's why 83% say that they plan on starting or joining webinars. So webinars are still thriving, alive, and doing well, and very effective. And the source here was FindStack. So it's a good source. And webinars are sleaze-free marketing. You don't have to feel icky at all, especially if you're giving a lot of value. So you can see the little arrow on the bottom says Sarah copied and pasted this from the PowerPoint slides in our Selling with Webinars kit. That's what we're going to be talking about more later, the brandable kit that you can use. So when you get that kit, you'll also get this infographic. And it talks about the sort of things that you can promote at the end of a webinar after you've given all your value and taught something. So you can promote a specific product, a discount, an affiliate offer, something like your coaching or consulting services. It could even be a new lead magnet to get more signups to your list, or support, just support giving existing customers some sort of extra value so that you retain them. So there are lots of different ways you can use webinars. And here I mentioned there's a lot on this slide. Yes, we told you that the slides should not be wordy. So Sarah got a little carried away with how much she wanted to say, or she wanted me to say on this slide, which is that they have a huge impact on your conversions. Now, your goal won't always be to make a sale, like I just mentioned on the previous slide. It could be just giving more value so that you can have client retention, or getting more people onto a lead magnet so you can segment and know what they're interested in most, things like that. But the important thing is that you know what your goal is first, and you engage people rather than hitting them with the hard sell. So just be really clear from the outset on what you want out of your webinar. And they're easy when you know how. So this is where I would stop the webinar for a moment and go for more interactivity. So we've covered a lot. I've shown you some things. I showed you how to customize slides, how to upload them to your webinar platform, why they're effective as sleaze-free marketing. So just write your aha moments in the chat. And with a live webinar where I'm having people register in advance versus a live stream like this, you're going to get a lot more people participating. That's one of the things I love about webinars. A lot of times with live streams, people are showing up at different times. They don't see the whole thing. So if you just showed up, for example, you don't know what I just covered earlier. Whereas with a webinar, people do tend to show up early, and more of them show up who register. So that's just kind of an aside. So if you do have an aha moment while you're on here live, type it in. If you're watching the replay, type it in anyway, because I'm going to see it. And this is then when I transition over to my call to action on a webinar, which is talking about selling with webinars and how you can do all of what I just did and teach people how to do it. So we have a course, white label course, that's just launched today that has all these different contents, all brandable and ready to go. And no, this isn't for everyone, but if you're a coach or consultant, you're going to know how effective webinars are for your audience. If you'd like to create a high quality results oriented course, so in record time without having to try and do everything from scratch. So rather than launching something in 4, 5, 6 months, you could launch it next week and have it ready to go because we give you the materials. If you want to show people that there's an easy way to build rapport without overdoing it. So it's a very natural progression when you do a webinar, because and I know all of my audience is like that, you like to teach people and help them. So when you're giving a webinar, you're doing that the whole time or most of the time. And then it's very natural to go and tell them about something that you have on offer at the end of the webinar. And if you'd like something that's quick and easy to customize, like I said before, you can have this ready in as short as a weekend. That's how fast Sarah puts these things together.
Last night with the slides, it was nearly midnight in the UK, and customizing these slides took 30 minutes. Yep. So it's not something that you have to lose a day. When you've got templates, very, very easy. And as Sharon showed earlier, then, you know, you can have one click and change all the colors to your brand.
Yep.
So it's really a really easy way when you use the templates, so much faster.
Yep. And I see questions coming in already. So I am going to answer those as soon as we're done with this. I'll take a little break. I just wanted to show you that when you're doing an actual webinar, at this point, you would break it down a bit. So I told you that we have an offer. Here's where I would break it down. And Sarah actually did this slide first, where she also got carried away and said what the values would be: a fortune, a stack of cash, several trillion, priceless. And we've used all sorts of 3D images, but the right way to do it is to actually put values on so that people see exactly what they're getting. And you can see that we've done the 3D with the course book, the action guide. We've put it onto things like a computer monitor so that people really get a feel for what they're getting. And then you do some testimonials. So like we have one from Chris Gloss, who said it's a tremendous help. He reduced his timeframes from 45 days or more to under a week, putting his courses together using our materials. And that means he can secure more deals as well, because he has that turnover time where he can really focus on client needs. And I'd show you again, this is why, because you're getting materials like this, everything that's brandable, all these things that are going through this little GIF here. Another testimonial. So Peter said that he doesn't have to worry about the quality. All he has to do is tweak it a little bit and saves hundreds of thousands of dollars, makes him a valuable resource to his clients, so he looks like a superstar. And once more, just to finish up, this is what you'd get. That's the URL you'd go to, contentsparks.com/webinars, to get all of this material. And
we leave that
the end of the demo. But at that point, we would be taking questions. And by the way, I'm in Canva here. I can go down and just go back to that slide at the bottom.
It's best to leave the sales slide up when you're answering the questions.
Okay.
So that people can see where they can go and have a look at the sales page. And it's on the screen so people can read, oh, there's a course book and an action guide, but they're also listening to you answering some of the questions that people have got. So we could say, oh, Yvonne's aha moment is Demio. Nettie says, great content, thank you. So all of this, you're talking through what people are asking you and sharing their aha moments, but you've got your sales slide up there.
Exactly. You're not salesy. You have to, this is Sharon's aha moment. you're not being salesy at all. You have to know what your goal is. So your goal isn't always to sell something. Your first goal is to teach people something. Your end goal may be to sell or to retain clients or get more clients, or to segment people as well. I even said at the end, you can figure out what people are interested in based on who signed up for the webinar. Yvonne said her aha moment is Demio, and I'll show you more of Demio in a moment. I love it. It's my favorite webinar platform. I know not everyone uses it. Nettie said, great content, thank you. Your aha, you have full attention rather than a live stream. And this is important because, Yvonne, I know you also asked why use webinars as opposed to Zoom, and also as opposed to Zoom or a live stream. So we have, two things here. Nettie was talking about live stream. Zoom, you do tend to have more attention, but Zoom is to me for smaller groups. Now, Zoom does have webinars as well. So I assume you're talking more about when you're having a meeting, and that's limited. Zoom is terrific when you have a smaller group of people and you want to be able to see everyone on the screen. I love that when we do our VIPs, our VIP live group sessions, so that we can all interact and see each other. Webinars aren't really for that. You would have maybe one or two presenters and a bigger audience. So you're only interacting with people in the chat. So that's my preference of one versus the other. Now, Zoom, I know people use to teach as well, classes. I have a friend who's been using it or was using it for the whole of the pandemic, teaching her students, and it was very difficult because she was scrolling through different screens to be able to see all her students, and that's a challenge when you do need to see everyone. I like it more for small groups, webinars more for a bigger audience. Sarah, do you have an opinion on that as well?
Oh yeah,
Of course you do.
Of course I do. You should know better than to ask. I like Zoom. I love Zoom. I use it every single day of the week, even before the pandemic. It's great for one-on-one or small groups, like Sharon says. With the webinar aspect, having all of the little faces around the edge, I find that like I'm under the microscope. Now, obviously, you may not feel that way, but for me, when I'm doing the webinar, I want it to be a more intimate experience where they're seeing what's on the screen. They're not distracted by somebody taking their Zoom into the toilet and peeing, and somebody else's cat jumping on screen, and somebody in the chat saying, where's everybody gone? I can't see you. I can't see you. I find all of that really distracting because I get really nervous when I do webinars. So I like to do mine where I can't see the audience, and it's not because I don't want to see them. It's just I will not deliver my best if I'm looking at them picking their nose, falling asleep, their dogs jumping up and wrestling them to the ground like mine has done on several occasions. So for me, Zoom isn't perfect for webinars. The other aspect is it's good for when you start out, but when you become more proficient with webinars, you're going to want to know when people dropped off and if people stayed to the end, and you're going to want some more detailed analytics, and I don't believe you get those from Zoom. I use something called Webinar Kit, and it tags people. So it will say attended 15 minutes, attended 30 minutes, attended 45 minutes. So I know I can personalize the follow-up saying, sorry you didn't stay to the end. I know what it's like when something happens and you just have to drop everything. Here's the replay, and if you've got any questions, please let me know. Yep. So I can tailor it. And if somebody's only stayed 15 minutes, I'll be like, what did I say? What did I do? That sort of jokey response, because clearly I didn't meet the need that they had. But if somebody stayed 45 minutes, I'd like to know that too, because I want to send them a specific follow-up, and you can't do that in Zoom. And you shouldn't do that to start with. You should do that when you've got perhaps 5 or 6 webinars under your belt and you're selling from them, you're confident in yourself, you've got a webinar that actually converts. because you don't want to do all of the tagging and all of the extra things if your webinar isn't converting.
Yep.
You've got to fix the big thing first and then go back to doing the fancy little things.
Yep. And you're not going to get all of that detail on a Zoom. So there's from your standpoint, and then there's student standpoint. So the student standpoint is the smaller groups and the interactivity in a room. From your standpoint, it's being more confident, presenting, and getting all those analytics as well, and teaching to a larger group so that more people can benefit. So, and then there was the other point when we compared to live streams, as I mentioned before, and Nettie said, it's you get more attention than a live stream because people are coming and going on a live. And I found I get a lot more people attending on a webinar.
The other thing with the live stream is, as you're delivering it, if you're delivering it on a social media platform, they're sending somebody notifications saying, this is going on, your friend has just said this, so-and-so has done that. And they're doing everything they can to take your attention off of the webinar.
Exactly. William, I think and here's an example. You probably missed me doing this before. So I'm going to go back over here. And I'm still in present mode, so I'm going to escape out of here. Whoops, I'm not over yet with the demo. So now I'm back into my slides. Here, let me hide this so you can see what I'm doing. So this is my slides. I can change any color in here. For example, say I want this side color that's on all my slides into a different brand color. In Canva, I've uploaded all my brand colors so I can quickly change those anytime. And I think that's only in the business account. But so say I want to change this blue, the teal to the blue, I can change it in one place. And then at the very bottom, here in the bottom left, I can click change all. And it's now done it on every single slide. All right. This particular graphic in here is something that was copied and pasted from our webinar slides that you get in our course kits, and it's from Smart Art. So this itself you can change inside PowerPoint by just changing the custom colors. That's something I can also show you a little later. I've shown it before, but I can show you how to do that. So that's how you would change change any of the slides. And you change the images, so you change anything like this to your image, to brand it, something like this I put in and changed. It's very easy to upload and then to just drag and drop in. And it fits into the slide. So that's how you can customize things. So hopefully that answered you enough for the moment, at least. All right. All right, let's go back. Let me see what other questions we have. And I can leave this back in present mode as well, so you can see it full screen. How's that? Yes, we love teaching. Sharon said, I know you do. How do you do the one click to change colors? I think I just answered that. What do you think is the optimum length of a webinar? Now that's going to really depend on your audience, okay? And this is important because I've seen webinars that last 2 and 3 hours, and I've seen ones that last 20 minutes. So you have to judge by your audience. So say you have busy CEOs as your audience. They may only be able to take that 20 minutes for a really short webinar, and that can be a whole series. I know one person who does that. Their series is always 20 minutes, always a 20-minute webinar, and they have to really pack it in tightly and get all the key information so you'll be sharing less in a very short space of time. Others have done 2-hour webinars where it's more like a master class than a standard webinar, selling webinar. And I would say if you're using it to sell something, the 2-3 hour one is usually for selling something very big because you have to pack a lot of value. And again, depends on your audience. Are they going to take 2 and 3 hours out to do a whole big class and then sign up for your, $10,000 a year coaching? So again, that depends on that. But usually they're about an hour. I'd say that's standard. And usually you have maybe a few minutes of intro, very short intro, where you lose people immediately. So if they don't know you, you're not going to do a huge long background, because they're not interested in knowing who you are and your background until they've learned a little something from you. So you do a short intro, give them some value. Then if you need to tell them, if you want to tell them more about yourself, you can, but keep it short, and then continue on and make it, I would estimate, about 2/3 at least, or 3/4 even of it being real value. All right. And then at the end, you leave time, you present your offer. Don't spend half an hour presenting your offer, or you'll lose people again, but you want to present the basics, what the value is, like we were just showing on those slides. Address some of the objections that you can anticipate already that people have in their minds, and then allow as long as people need for asking questions. I wouldn't cut that off at all just because it's an hour. I wouldn't cut people off if they have questions.
I wouldn't. If you've got stream of questions coming in, even though you may have said I've only got 15 minutes, I would stay, and I have stayed for long over just answering questions, because firstly, it's really good audience intelligence, but secondly, it also showed me that I didn't answer enough in the sales page. And when I broke down the stack of what the value of each thing was, I was very much like the first example, priceless, worth a lot, that sort of thing. And because I didn't put in the work on that slide, it led to more questions. And one thing that I would say about the about bit, lots of people are so desperate to tell their story to their audience. And if you feel that your audience have to know who you are on the webinar, you can actually, when you send out the first one saying thank you for registering, if you're curious about who I am, click here and I'll tell you my story. And you can send them to your about page or a special video or something like that. So those that are curious will see it beforehand. They know who you are from that video, so that when you get on the webinar, you don't have to do the whole 15 minutes, 30 minutes of how you've come from a really tough situation and turned it around. You can actually mince it down to 3 or 4 minutes.
Yep, absolutely. I like that idea, because and people may want to know that information before they register anyway. So you can also have it on your registration page, so they know a little bit about you, because they're not attending the webinar to hear your life story, unless that's the whole point of the webinar. And then they know that that's what they're signing up for. But if they're signing up to learn the 3 key slides you need to have in every webinar or something like that, you better be jumping into that pretty quickly, or you've lost them. All right. And Yvonne, I hope we answered your question about the answering questions when you have a lot of people on the webinar, and that you just do the Q&A as long as you need to. But as you do more webinars and have more people, you'll be able to anticipate those questions, because they'll be the same ones each time, and you can address them before you even start the Q&A. So you can anticipate which questions people have and address those objections and questions, and then you'll get new ones each time. But let it go on as long as it needs to go on. Thank you for the information about Zoom. Awesome. Yes, please do the PowerPoint color swap. Okay, I'm going to do that when we show the actual materials. Yes, that's where you change the color in the infographic, William. And Yvonne said, on that video, you send them beforehand. Is that a good place to put testimonials of clients who have already attended? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Put those on the registration page and on your about page as well.
And one at the bottom of the email when you send them out to people, just so it helps them. Firstly, it helps them understand that you have worked with other people, because sometimes people do think, oh, you know, who is this person? And if you reassure them, it's okay, I am actually a business owner myself, and you know, I know how you feel at this stage, so let me reassure you a bit and put a couple of testimonials in. And even in the follow-up emails, I would put customer testimonials in. And whilst it's not a webinar, In my blogging challenge, every single email has a testimonial from somebody who has been through the blogging challenge, sharing their experience. And the purpose of that in the blogging challenge was simply everybody thinks that they're struggling or having a tough moment, but we all struggle. We all have a tough moment. Even if we never show it, we actually do. Yeah?
Yep.
So testimonials, really good idea there, Yvonne. Share them everywhere.
Yep, absolutely. And William, so suggesting presented from Canva or PowerPoint. Now you have different options, but for a webinar, you are going to present from the webinar. So that is a great transition over to showing you Demio, the platform I use, and what that would look like and how you would present from there. So I'm going to hop into Demio now. And this is the platform I use. I actually set one up already so that you could see what the room and everything else would look like once you set it up. But it's what you do for, this has gotten smaller, so I need to show you, is all I do is go into events, and then I can add a new event. I can add a standard, a series, or an automated. Automated is a little different in Demio. It's just having everything pre-recorded and pre-scheduled, everything you want to do. And then you just start the webinar. People pick from a series of dates and times, and you can be there at the same time and answer questions, but you can have everything running. So I would do just a standard one. I'd put in the title. So this is selling with webinars. Example. I'm the event host, but if you have other people, you can select other people. Like I have other people set up on my team. I'd continue, and I'd set I don't want to schedule the event. So here I'm going to schedule. So say it's, what's today? Today is the 17th. So let me make it just later so that we have a time. I'd add it to the event schedule. All right, so that's all set. Now I want to go in, and it's given me all the options for customizing. So I'd go into customize, do the registration page, email notifications, the room, and this is where I'm going to go back and just show you the one that I've already set up so that you can see what I've done here. And then when you're ready, you join the room. So let me go back to all events and show you the one I set up already. All right, so I've got the same dashboard here that I did on the one I just scheduled. So I had the summary, it's a session all there. I set up an extra person, but all of this is done in the Customize tab. So in the registration, you want to customize the registration page. So here I've done all this already. You can pick a template. You can have just a gradient, right? A plain one, which is perfectly fine. You can do the background image like I did. I already had that one uploaded. You can change the opacity on that so it's darker or lighter, depending on how much you want to show. I like that medium one. It's showing me everything's been saved, so it's automatically saving. I've got the fields there. Let's see what else. I've got branding I've added. Now it's pulled in stuff that I already have uploaded to my account. So my logo and my color scheme. So I don't have to redo that. Elements. Now here you can have different things. So I've got the title, which is automatically pulled in from the title of the webinar itself, but you can edit that and go in and change it something else. You can have a sub headline. I said get a peek inside. I could turn that off if you want to keep it simple. I could add a little video to the top, so those are always effective. That's where you could tell a little bit more. You have to, for Demio, just put in a link from YouTube or Vimeo or Wistia. So you just upload it there and maybe keep it hidden. Description. This is good for putting a few bullet points in. You can format it a little bit, put an image. There's a basic editor here. So I could bold and do a variety. I could hyperlink something. So you could hyperlink to your about page and say, if you want to learn more about me, head here. So that's another thing you can do. And here you can add featured presenters. So I added some information about myself. I could add another presenter. So I could be adding Sarah in here with her title and her website and a little bio and her photo as well, because we often do things together. And then finally, there's social media. So here you can specify exactly what your settings are going to be, which is really helpful when you're sharing on something like Facebook or elsewhere. Here, let me make this bigger so you can see. So I put in my same graphic, I specified the title and the description all at the bottom here. It gives me that option. So this is good for SEO too, but for people finding it. And that is everything on the registration page. You would save and close it. Obviously, you need to save it. And you can specify a custom thank you page. I've left it here, but you could create something somewhere else. So for instance, if you want people to download something like a worksheet before your webinar, you can create a custom thank you page where you'd give them that download link and say, make sure you download this worksheet beforehand, blah, blah, blah. Have it ready to take notes when you're done.
It's also a good place to pop that about yourself video as well. And if you need to know more about me, your coach, just watch this little video.
Exactly. You can have first name and email, change that. Enhanced validation is something where if something's undeliverable, they're not going to get registered. You can add other fields, options, company. There's a variety of different things. GDPR even. And I think that's everything in there that I'll show you. I don't want you to get too complicated with this. You can have different sessions if you have multiple sessions and all of that. So that's registration. Keep it simple for the first time. Email notifications. These are the emails that Demio would send out. I like to leave these on so that all the different emails are done from Demio, the reminders. And then what I do is I set up an automation in ActiveCampaign, which is my email platform, so that they get the follow-up ones with replays and other things in advance. You could turn these off and set up your own. And I'll show you how that works in a second as well. So you can do a little bit of editing, but not a ton. You don't want to get fancy here. I asked Demio about this once before, why they don't allow more customization. And they said, basically, this has been the most effective and they've done a lot of testing. And this will also be easier for you to do. You can add a little custom stuff here. Again, like the about page link. If you want to learn more about me beforehand, go here. Get your worksheet beforehand here and have your link in there. But keep it really simple. And it'll automatically fill in the date and time and the join link. All right. And people will also get, once they've confirmed, they'll get an option to add it to their calendar. And they have it in here too. So those go out instantly, 24 hours before, an hour before, and 15 minutes before. Now you can see for replay follow-up, I have that turned off because that's the sort of thing I prefer to do in an automated follow-up email where I grab the link and I can send one thing to people who have attended and other information to people that didn't show up. So kind of like what Sarah said, it'll track that. And you can send to everyone. You can send just to attendees or just to no-shows if you have that turned on. The room, I showed you a little bit about this before, setting up the room in advance. I call it a webinar room, which is your back end of everything that you have going on. So you can add resources, which includes polls, handouts, and featured actions. So here I set up a poll already, and I can go back and change it. So have you run a sales webinar before? Yes or no? But you could have other options as well. And I can say share results with attendees. You can do this when you're in the room as well, but it's easier to set all this stuff up in advance. So I can add a resource like a handout. and I would just upload a file like a PDF or a worksheet. And I don't have to share it right away. You can share it at any time during the webinar. I can also add a featured action, and this you should always do. This is basically your call to action that you would do at the end, or anytime. So it doesn't have to be a sales thing. It could be sign up here to talk to me, to schedule a call, stuff like that. So here it might be selling with webinars. I'll show you this inside as well because I did set it up. So it might be selling with webinars, white label course. And I put in the URL for it and whatever I'd want on the button text and an image. So I'll show you that inside the room because I did do that already. But set it all up in advance. All right. And then click on your done. Did I set up? I showed you setting up the presentation materials, and then I've uploaded that. I showed you that earlier. And settings, you want to have the public chat preferably. And post-session redirect as well, I like to have turned on. And what I do is I put the URL for whatever the sales page is. So you would put, based on the goal of your webinar, whatever that page is that you want people to go to. Because when they're done, they're still on there, but you want to send them somewhere. You don't want it just be, hey, we're done, over, goodbye. So they can see, they might have just missed it. So I always have that on as well. What else have I not shown you? Event admins, I mentioned before, you can add people. So I have some team members set up already, and I added Sarah as a host, and I can change her role if I wanted to. I could edit it. So it'd be something different, like just be a presenter. I like to have Sarah as a co-host in case my internet freezes up. She just doesn't like it necessarily. But I can also add someone, like I could add Fiona and have her as a moderator so that she's in the background moderating stuff and making sure everything's going on. And then I would just add her and she would show up, and an email got sent to her. So I don't know if Fiona, you're watching this right now, but you don't worry about the email you just got sent. And then I'm done. So you're done with that one. General is just time zones. So if you could change it to UK, if that's where you are or wherever you are in the world, and that's where most of your attendees will be, you would do that. I'm actually on Mountain Time now, so it's easier for me to see that. And you can even change the language. So there are a bunch of different, how many languages do they have in here now? Actually, quite a few, but I'm not going to change it. And then finally, and extremely important, is your integrations. And the moderator, yes, can answer comments, William. I'm looking at your questions at the moment, and I do see that. So it's really helpful to have a moderator who can just answer little things. Or for instance, if someone's having a tech problem, they can address it right in the comments or answer easy things. If they're questions just for you, then they can highlight them as well. So you know that the questions are there and they don't get lost. And that's really helpful too. In the integrations in your account, you will have set up something already. I have Active Campaign set up, which is what I use. So in here, I'll have turned it on, and then I go into the settings. And here, what's important is you set up whatever list or tags you want to be using. So in this case, I set up just one tag, which is what happens when people register. So registrants get added this tag, demo webinar. I can also set up a tag for attendees and a tag for no-shows. So then I would say, for instance, demo webinar _ attended, demo webinar _ no-shows. And then I can customize my follow-up emails based on that. Save join link is something that's also a feature in Demio where I can send out emails with their join link so that, say, I want to send all my own emails rather than having the automated ones from Demio. So telling them what to do when and schedule those before the webinar. All right. Hopefully Let me go back a second. Sorry, I'm seeing something else. Let's go back. What else? Webinar join link. I think that's everything on here. So I'm going to save that integration. There, you can add some custom code like for tracking, but I think that's everything. There are some questions, but I want to just show you the room itself before I get into more questions. I'm hoping that's okay with you all, because otherwise we're going to get sidetracked. So once you do have everything set up, you can grab a share link, your event registration link. You can share on social media. You can grab a form and embed it on a page in line or a popover. You could even take that and put it on a Facebook page. There are lots of different options there for sharing. But if you're just sending out to people, you would just grab that share link as well. And then finally, the activity tab is going to show you registration summary. You'll see activity afterwards as well in terms of people joining and when they've dropped off and stuff like that. I can even see who's registered so far. So I just did this as a test and I can see that I registered for it. And I can export that list of everything as well. And that is everything there. Let me quickly show you the room itself. Obviously, I'm not going to go live here because I can't do live stream in this at the same time. But here it'll ask me to join the room. You can only do this up to 24 hours beforehand. So I'm going to join now. It says it's on standby. So only admins have access. So Sarah could go on here since I think I set her up as a co-host as well. But anyone I've set up as an admin or moderator can join beforehand. So I'm just going to hide that. There's nothing there. I need to go on stage. So this is going to get a little weird looking for a second because I'm going to go onto the camera. And here, so that I'm not looking at my other monitor, let me move this over. Let's see if you can see me. All right, this could get a little crazy. Just let me know. So it's having me check my camera and the microphone. I can run a connectivity. I can't even talk anymore. And then I'd go on stage, right? And there I am on stage. But I'm also going to want to present my materials. And here, this is, William, where you asked earlier about presenting. In Canva, I could just share my screen. So I could go back to Canva and I could share that screen. So this really works best on a separate monitor. And you can see I have that set up. I would go into presenter mode on there. And I would also, I can stop sharing the screen. I was trying to show you something else for a second, but I don't think I can do that. I was trying to make it so that I don't show up here. Here, I can leave the stage, but I'm going to leave that on there. So I can present that way by sharing the screen and going through Canva. But I also uploaded those materials beforehand, so I can go into share materials, pick the slides, and go through this way. It just won't have those little GIFs, the moving things, because it's in a PDF. So you just wouldn't be able to do that. But I could also go on here, the little dots on the side, and enable the spotlight so that I'm not showing up and you can just focus on the slides. All right, and now I'm just gonna stop that share. I can stop sharing just like that, and I'm back again. And over on the right, you'll see people will have the option to leave chats. I could leave a private message so that just my event admins would see it. In the public, everyone would see it. People can add emojis. You can tag somebody in there as well. So people would write like, here's a
Hi Sharon, we're still seeing your Canva screen at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you for letting me know. You know why? Because I think I need to go back over here. I'm sorry about that. I showed you all that stuff. Now I have to repeat it all again? You know why? Because I moved it over so I was looking in the camera. So I can show you again that I can't show you the sharing the screen really, because I was trying to show you the Canva screen so I could show a different screen, but that's how you would do it. And then you'd click on share and escape out of that. But the sharing materials, can you see that? I don't think you saw that before. So here I can share materials, and then I can also hide myself so that I'm not showing. That's the enable spotlight, right? And then I can just stop sharing as well. By clicking on the stop is the easiest. So then I'm back again, and I'd be presenting. And over on the right here, actually, let me go back to this again and make me spotlight. So I'm not showing. And now it's not as distracting not having me on the screen. So on the right, you've got chat, you've got polls, you've got handouts. Anything you've uploaded, when you share it, people can go download. You just tell them to go there. Say you have a poll, you tell them to go there. In the chat, tell people to put their questions. You can add an emoji. You can tag someone. You can say question. You know, if somebody puts a question in, I believe you can go on there and mark it as a question. And sorry, because I'm not live, some of this stuff isn't working. This is just a demo. So the one last thing I want to show you here is that in the handouts, that's where those featured actions are. So that can be a little confusing. So I have one featured action I set up before, and it's set up. I could edit it there, but it's all ready to go. And I click share now, and it's going to show up on the screen. And then it's got a button that people can click on. So they could just click on that, and it's going to open up in a new tab. So they don't lose the webinar itself. It'll just open up in a new tab. So I think that's everything. If there's something else you want me to show you in Demio, I can do that quickly. But for now, I'm going to just exit out of here and just close it out. All right, and go back. So I think that is everything that I wanted to show. There are some questions. Let's go through. So William, you had mentioned suggesting from Canva or PowerPoint. I showed you sort of the two options. If you want to present from Canva, it's going to be best to have a second monitor when you're on your webinar like Demio, and then share that screen. So you'd put it into presentation mode and then share that screen. If you upload the PDF of the slides to Demio or your webinar platform, you can do it from there. If you want to do it on PowerPoint, you have to do that same sort of screen sharing thing. And you can export Canva slides to PowerPoint. It's just you can't control everything as easily as you can in Canva. So hopefully that is clear. And Nettie has a question that Kevin has been waiting eagerly to answer, because Kevin is our new Zenler expert. So can you do webinars like this in new Zenler? Kevin, you are on.
Let me unmute. Thanks, Sharon. So yeah, I'm not Sarah. I'm Kevin, the other half of Sarah. So I work very closely with New Zenler, so I've just jumped in to answer this specific question. I think when you look at a platform like Demio, all Demio does is webinars. It has no other purpose in life but to deliver every feature possible that it can. So therefore you get all of the pop-ups for the sales, all of this other stuff. New Zenler is an all-in-one platform. So therefore it has lots of features, but not necessarily as comprehensive as a platform that features just one. So on that basis, with the webinars that you can do in New Zenler, which are run through Zoom, okay, so they use a Zoom link. So in effect, you're using Zoom to deliver the webinar. There's very basic functionality in there. It is improving over time, so they're allowing repeat webinars. You can do the recordings of the webinars, sales pages, etc., etc., and all of that stuff. But a lot of the clever trickery that we see that is done in Demio isn't available in the New Zenler one at the moment. It's a progressive platform, so hopefully that helps. If you want to know more about that, then I can help you on it if you've got any more specifics. But yeah, you can do a webinar in New Zenler. You can make sales in New Zenler for it, and you can, you know, have the pre-registrations, build your lists, all of the things that Sharon's gone through with this program. But there are limitations. And one of the things, like any webinar software, you have to be aware of is the numbers. You know, even in Demio, you're restricted on your account type as to how many attendees you can have. And New Zenler's no different. I think it's 100 to start with, and you can build up a package. So.
Exactly. Yep. So if you have more, okay, Nettie said, oh, fab, fine. Okay. And Yvonne said, webinar, should it be niche specific or broad? That really depends on your goal. I would always go for more specific. You're going to get more attendees, more engagement, more interaction. And if you are selling something, you're going to get more conversions. Never go broad. If you can go narrower, you'll always sell more. William asked, so was this was done, is this Webby done with Demio, but you're presenting it on Facebook Live, or why are you using Facebook Live for this? All right, I wanted to be able to demonstrate to you how the webinar works and how Demio works, and I can't be live in 2 places at once. So I can't actually show you Demio if I'm using it live, if that makes sense. I can only have so many things going on at once. And also, we typically do our launches as live streams because it's a little more casual. Webinars tend to be a little bit more formal. This way we can see each other on screen, see you guys, show comments. I don't have that ability to pop the comments onto the questions up onto the screen the same way in Demio, which is a shame. But that's a really nice feature here in the live stream. Also, I'm live streaming in 2 places, in YouTube and in Facebook, which is a big help too. With the webinars one, if I do it as a webinar, everyone has to register in advance, which might get me more people, but not as many views and interactions later. So there are different purposes for different things. But we could have done it as a webinar, absolutely. Absolutely. It would just be limited, and I'd have to send out a replay, and this way it's going to show up on people's streams as well. And the other big thing, though, is just being able to show you the functionality in Demio, which I can't do if I'm on Demio live. All right. I hope that's clear. And William, I think I answered before. Yes, Moderator can answer questions. Hopefully I answered the question about why I'm using Facebook Live instead of Demio. I'm showing one at the same time. Yvonne said, this is off topic. How do you pop the question on the screen in Facebook Live? And here's where I can't show the live stream because I'm on it. But basically, this is going to be, let me see if I can do this. If I'm sharing my screen, let me see if I can swap screens and share a different screen. If I stop that and I try sharing, this might look a little weird. Let's see what happens. Is it going to go crazy? Okay, so I'm sharing the screen with you on the screen, and all I did on the right, this is in StreamYard, is I clicked on your comment. So here you can kind of see my mouse going. I clicked on your comment and it shows up just like that, anything that's on the right. So that should be clear now, right? Okay, let me stop that screen share. All right, and now I'm turning that off. So hopefully that showed you, Yvonne, if that was clear. Sometimes when you share a screen where you're on it, it does this weird thing where it goes on into infinity. And that's everything, except we didn't actually show the materials, and we're already over an hour. So I've already broken that hour-long rule.
Could we just show a little bit of the materials? I know everybody's seen the webinar slides that you get in the expansion pack, but perhaps...
So William, just StreamYard is what I just showed you, is how I do the Facebook Lives. It streams the Facebook Live for me so that I don't have to do it in Facebook. It just has more features, and scheduling in advance is easier, and I can multi-stream to YouTube because I'm on YouTube Live as well at the same time now, and has things like being able to show the comments on the screen. So let us go over, because Sarah said she wants to show at least part of this. All right,
just a little bit. I know we've seen the slides from the expansion pack, and you get those in Canva and you can customize them, but there's other good things in this.
Okay. What do you want to see?
Right. I would like to see the slides because I always want to see the slides.
Okay. So I won't show the course roadmap then necessarily. Let's just open up the slideshow. So slideshow already has notes in it too. Let me make this bigger.
And as you could see in the Canva slides, I was able to copy out the graphic and paste it into Canva. So if you're going to do that, you need to customize it in PowerPoint first and change the colors.
Right. That's what somebody had asked for, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way to customize it is I have the whole thing highlighted right now. I can make it a little bit bigger by making these smaller. You can see the notes underneath are to guide your script. And so I'm highlighting the whole thing. And I could go through and change them all, but if I have my own custom colors set up, I go into the Design tab, which is at the very top here. And over on the right where it says Variants, I click the down arrow. And you can click on Colors there, and you get a whole list of different colors. And at the very bottom is something called Customize Colors. So you can set up your own brand colors that way. I've already done that. So I just click on it and it would change it everywhere. Now I already have those colors, so let me show you a different one. Colors, let's just pick like blue warm as an example. So you'll see it changed automatically on there, and it's changed it everywhere else in the presentation. So that's how you get that one-click changing of all the colors and all the smart art. And now I want to put it back to my custom one. So I'm going to go here, go back to colors, and I set up my Content Sparks ones right there. And now it's back again. So hopefully that is clear on that one. So here's the roadmap through the course. Can you do screen recording of your presentation in Facebook Live? Facebook, what happens is with StreamYard, they automatically do a recording for you. So if you are using StreamYard, you don't have to worry about screen recording. It's automatic. And you can even download the audio as well as the video. And they save it for a certain length of time if you have one of the paid ones, because it's free or paid. Actually, Sarah, does the free one give you the recording too, or is it only the paid? Do you remember?
I don't know.
And I can't look at it right now because I'm actually using it. So I'd have to get back to you on that. But Larry, it will automatically do the recording for you, so you don't have to worry. And that can, if you're trying to do screen recording at the same time as a Facebook Live, depending on your internet connection and your how powerful your computer is, it could end up just crashing on you. So if you can use something like StreamYard, it's going to save you a lot of grief. All right. What was I showing you? Slides. So this is the slideshow.
And there's loads. Right, I think I've seen enough of the slides. Can you open up the action guide?
Yes, yes, action guide. I'm not saving any changes. So there's a little bit more in this one. There isn't just an action guide. There's also a checklist, an organizer, and a planner. So the action guide goes along with all the materials. Oh, why is this not showing? Sorry about this. There. The action guide will go along with all the action steps in the course book. So you can see they're all kind of worksheets, things like choosing the topic, choosing a webinar topic for your audience, your format, your model, your tech. So you're choosing all of that, your messages, your content. That's all in the workbook, or action guide is what we like to call it. And then there's a checklist, which I know you had liked, Sarah. That has
your checklist.
You love your checklist. That has everything you need to do to make sure you're set up. It has an organizer, which is more to follow the timeline, what you need to get organized beforehand and the day of the webinar and afterwards. So more stuff. And then the planner is for planning out your content. So your topic, your format, it's some of the stuff you did in the action guide, but all in one place. So those are all the things in there. What else?
So they make really nice bonuses. So somebody joins your course, you can say, and you'll get a webinar planner, and that you'll get an organizer so that you know the timeline of it. So if you're getting in VAs and other people to help you with things, you know roughly when things have got to be ready by. So that's really good stuff. And Sharon's just seen William's question. And yes, you can change the colours the same way, because Sharon's got up an infographic right there. And she's just
done. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question for doing instruction. Loved. Okay. What else, Sarah? What do you want to see?
I think
we're well over our time, you realize.
Everything, because I've already downloaded it and I've already started looking at what I can do with things.
There's also the expansion pack.
Tweets as well in the lead generation, and you can turn those into images on Canva. And of course, there's the expansion pack as well, which gives you the slides.
Okay, let me show you the slides. So the expansion pack has some stuff on using visuals in your webinars, social media tips to promote it, social media images, and then those slide templates, which we've mentioned here and there throughout this whole demo of a webinar. So in here, you'll see a PDF, and these, you saw that we used Canva to edit the slides for our demo here, and you will get in the expansion pack a template of slides. So they look like this. It's going to ask me to sign in. So let me go back over to where that would be. It would make a copy of it for you, and then you would go back and, do I have them in here? Sorry, I'm looking for them. I'm looking for the slides.
Do you want me to find them on mine and share my screen?
Yeah, why don't you do that, because then you could show it more easily. And we'll switch screens.
All right, I'm just going to share screen now.
Okay, you do that. Should overwrite mine. Yes?
There we go.
Mine. And now you share yours. I have to add it. There we go.
So there's the background there for you to add your image in, a logo placer for you to do that, the one-click colors. Now this is actually unchangeable. It is that orange color, but if you've got the Canva Pro, or even you might be able to get it in the normal Canva, the unpaid version, you can just go in to the elements and pick one out and replace it with that. So once we've got the template there, we give you an example so you can see how it looks.
And let me hide this so you can see the bottom there.
And it says example there. So you get the slide, your instructor, a little bit about you, and the example next to it. And you can use the example to see what we've recommended and expand upon that and customize it, and then of course delete out the sample ones so that it's all unique to you. And we do that all the way through so that you can see if you're stuck for inspiration, you can see what we've got in place and our examples and the various bits and pieces throughout. And then when we get to the end, we've got the stack of the value stack that you put together. So you can upload the screenshots, and you can see I've got some Content Sparks ones ready here. And I'm just popping them in place. And you can just see it's so swift to do this in Canva. It's just drag and drop very easily, very easy to show the value of your product. We've put the pack shot in for you. And all of these are in the bonus slides, even the this isn't for everyone part. And then, of course, breaking it all down, the value stack. And please don't leave these saying worth dollars. Please do assign a value or price list like I added in. And we've left a testimonial spacer for you and another value stack. And we say sales page URL ready for your questions. And if you just want move that in between testimonials, you can. So it's all there, all laid out for you with examples so that you can get it right for you.
And if that looks familiar to you, you can see that that's what we used when we were just doing this demo. We used that template. So that's all. There's the circle with a background image. There's all that. We added text in there. And how long did it take you to do this, Sarah? Because you put this together?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah. So that was, you know, including time for Sharon to say, oh, I want this there, and that's not right. You know, if it was just throwing it all together quickly and presenting, you could probably do it in 15 minutes. But because we wanted to get it so that you could actually see what was on screen, and we could do the demonstration of, you know, where I didn't put in the amounts so you could see the difference and understand the mistake there. And the same when I'd done the text too small, so you could understand that that was something that we'd spoken about, and then I'd gone and done it and made it too wordy, even though it's not what people likes. So we were including the learning points in the slides as well. Mm-hmm. But when you know the content, because you don't actually have to use those slides for your selling with webinars, you can use it for any other of your courses. And it's got that nice little value stack and the pack shot, so you can break it down, and it just reminds you. And there's not thousands of slides. You don't need to sit and think to yourself, oh gosh, I need to have 150 slides. You don't. We done the one that we customized was 20 slides, was it?
Yeah, about 20 slides.
Yeah. So it
wasn't we spent a while doing that because I also did the demo. I mean, we've been an hour and 22 minutes so far on here because there's so much to share, but it started with just 20 slides and some demos in there. So, and Yvonne said, yeah, you can run webinars for your clients and charge them a fee.
Yep, absolutely.
And it doesn't take that many times. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get. And I know people get really afraid of doing webinars, but actually webinars are a great starting point if you're not comfortable with doing something like a live stream or even a Zoom. Because as Sarah, you mentioned earlier, you don't have to be on camera. You can just have this and have some interaction and just show your slides like that without people showing. This I'm doing on and off just in StreamYard. But that is it. As I see more questions coming in. William, tell us about Trello boards and Content Sparks. I assume you mean the Trello boards that come as a bonus that everyone loves. So let me show you that. Let me go back. And that is the bonus for getting the main course and the expansion pack. So let me find that. So the Trello board is in Trello, which is free. There's a link in the PDF, so you get this in an email if you get both the main course and the expansion pack. and you'll click into Trello. It'll open up the board, and you'll need to sign up for free if you don't already have an account, or if you have one, log in and make a copy of it. And that's the only way you can actually use it. So you can go in and brand this and then do the same thing, sharing the link with your own audience. And there's some instructions in the first column here for you that you would then delete. And then it has information from the course, basically from the action guide, so that people can just check it off each time. So module 1, they've got their action steps of what they're supposed to do, and then they check it off. Write down your prior experience. What have you learned? So they have to check off everything here. And they can add their own cards with their own information. So this becomes their own webinar plan too. So let's say, select your webinar model. They can choose the model, so they can check off everything, but then add a card. I can't actually do it here because I don't have it open in my account, but they can add cards and stuff here too. So this is really helpful.
The good thing about Content Sparks is you will get the link for the Canva, so you can customize all of the little cards on the Trello board, so you can add your own branding. And this is important because people keep Trello boards. So if you've got that for your customers and they've imported it into their Trello account, they're going to be reminded of you every time they see that board. So you can put in, at the end of it, you can put additional programs you might like, how to work with me one-to-one. So even though they may have done that course and you may never hear from them again, you are constantly in their Trello account, and it's a reminder of who you are. And they do go and look through them. I know that I've got Trello boards that are 5 years old, and I think, what is that? I really should clean this out. And then I go and look, and I think, oh, that's really handy. I won't clean that out at all. And then I say, who's made this? And then I go over and have a look at them and see what they're doing. So it is it's great for longevity, great for branding, and great to keep your audience interested and reminded of who you are.
Yep. And that is everything. Are we done?
I think we are. And we stayed on and answered every single question.
We did. We stayed beyond the hour and we answered everything, hopefully. And again, let me put that URL back up. So that was contentsparks.com/webinars. And that will take you to this page, which gives you all the information about what you get. Once you add it to the cart, you will end up going to a suggestions page. If everything works while I'm on at the same time, a little great choice. You'll see the information about the expansion pack, so you can add that to your cart. There's information about the bonus Trello board. And there's a couple other courses that are on sale at the same time. One on camera video basics, and one on how to create sales pages that convert, because you want to have a good sales page to send people to at the end of a webinar. And you want to get on camera a bit too, because that's going to create a lot more engagement. All right.
And that makes a really nice little program for people, the webinars, the sales page for selling their things, and the camera confidence for presenting. I probably need to train myself on that, so I'm more confident on camera.
Absolutely. That's the more you do it, the better you get. But I think we're getting more and more confident each time, and we've been doing it for a while. All right. So if you do have any more questions, we've missed anything, and you've managed to stay for this long or joined later, add them in the comments or put them on whatever the page or the group or wherever you're watching this, and tag us, and we will see it and be able to answer it. And in the meantime, go and grab Selling with Webinars, the new course, and get using it and teaching it. All right. Thank you to you, Nettie, as well, for coming along and being here live, and William and Yvonne and Sharon and Larry and everyone else who's here. And give us any feedback as well in the group. We really appreciate it. All right. Take care now, everybody. Bye.